My sister Jessie was married to Luke for 6 years, and they were together for more than a decade. In that time, Luke became part of the family, and we all loved him. Then when my nephew was very young, Luke cheated on Jessie and got the other woman pregnant. He wanted to make the marriage work, but my sister didn't, and she left him. He ended up with custody of his daughter because her mom didn't want a child, and he didn't want his daughter to be put up for adoption. Ever since that, he has been a single dad to her, and he and Jessie kinda co-parent. But Jessie can't forgive him for what he did, and so she keeps her distance. He asked Jessie to take his daughter on when she was a baby, again when she turned 1, and at least once a year ever since. She's now a toddler. A couple of months ago, my nephew told Luke to stop trying to get his mom to be his half-sister's mom. My nephew has been in the house while his dad is on the phone to my sister, so he hears everything. We believe this is an attempt to turn my nephew against Jessie for saying no, but it didn't work. The thing is, I do believe part of him just wants his daughter to be a part of a family. He never had a close one, and his mother's family aren't in the picture. She knows my nephew has us. She has expressed an interest in being included before. My nephew had a game, and me and my parents went with Jessie to cheer him on. Luke was there with his daughter, and she ran over to us when she saw my nephew and wanted us to be her family too. But I don't think he has the right to that. And I think he's an idiot for asking so much after what he did. Anyway, after the incident, Luke really got more intense with trying to get his daughter included. So much that he reached out to tell me I needed to talk to my sister and make her see that this is the right thing to do. He told me that he was a part of the family and that if we truly loved him, we wouldn't have stopped because of what he did. I told him he was once, but he disrespected and hurt my sister and betrayed her trust, and that meant he was no longer part of the family, and neither is his child, and we are not going to adopt her as one of us. He tried to yell at me, but I hung up. I was venting to a friend about him, and she told me it was kind of harsh when this little girl is the one suffering the most because of all this. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. Chances are that little girl thinks of you as family because Luke keeps whispering in her ear that she is. It doesn't look like Luke actually wanted to be a father. What kind of a parent tries to get his ex to take in the kid they had from an affair? What an awesome dad. Ugh. He's selfish and manipulative, wanting everything and none of the work. He had an affair, but felt bad about his daughter, yet no one is going to take her off his hands. From the sound of things, he doesn't want to be a single father. Everyone's the idiot here. I think you and your sister need to put your negative feelings aside. You're putting your hatred for him onto that little girl who will grow up feeling like no one wants her and that she's been forced to be estranged from her big brother. Yes, what Luke did was awful and wrong, but your sister's child is missing out on spending time with his little sister. Just because she's a reminder for Luke's wrongdoing, it's not her fault. Not the idiot. He wants someone else to parent and take care of his child. It doesn't sound like he's trying to put the effort in. The little girl deserves better, but it is his responsibility that he's trying to put on others. He decided to cheat. He decided to keep the baby, and then it was harder than he realized, so now he's trying to pawn her off. I wouldn't be shocked if he also thought that the mother would change her mind after the birth and would take over the child care. That seems to be an assumption multiple men have. I feel extremely sorry for that little girl, but not the idiot. Your brother-in-law caused this mess, nobody else, and you are standing up for your sister. Even your older nephew gets it and doesn't agree with what his dad is trying to do. It's sad for the girl, but no one except her dad and mom can be blamed for the situation they are in. I know this doesn't sound good. I, 40 male, grew up in the foster system and aged out, as did my best friend, 38 female. We were in a home together in our teens and stayed in contact. The bond I have with her is like nothing I ever had, but there is no romance here, no matter how many people in our lives have pushed it. That said, we both bought condos in the same building. She is happily married and her husband and I are good friends. He is deathly allergic to shellfish, to the point that my friend won't eat it herself because she worried she would set off a reaction, even though she loves it. Her husband travels a few times a year, and he always asks me to take her out and give her crabs or lobster, whatever she wants. Next week he's out of town, so I got us reservations at a nice seafood restaurant. I know she wants to see a musical in town, so I got tickets. And I got us a hotel room with 2 beds at a nice hotel. We will check out some museums and do a wine tasting the following day. All in all, this will probably be a $1,500 weekend. But we haven't gotten to do this since Global Issue started. If she were my blood sister, no one would care. But she isn't, and my girlfriend of 6 months is pissed. She says I just want something with her to throw this kind of money at her, but I just really like treating her. I am where I am in life because of her support and love and belief in me. She has always been my #1 cheerleader and always believes in me even when I don't believe in myself. We have also helped each other financially over the years. I do understand that getting a hotel room with a woman looks suspicious, but she, in my eyes, is a sister and the only family I have. Her husband knows and encourages it. We all interact regularly, and he gets our relationship. I haven't even been dating this woman for a year. My best friend and I have known each other for over 20 years. I don't think it is reasonable for her to expect big, expensive dates at this point. She is mad that I'm spending so much on taking another woman on an extravagant weekend and not her. Am I the idiot here? I'm a bit torn on this. Obviously, there's nothing wrong with doing this for your adoptive sister, although I'd stop calling it a date and start calling her your sister. Still, I also get it from your girlfriend's perspective that if she's wanting this kind of intensity or intimacy and seeing you lavish it on another woman who you're calling a friend, and when you're calling it a date, I'd be a little, yo, what the heck? You think 6 months is too early for this? And your girlfriend disagrees with you. Normally, I'd blame her for throwing a fit, but it sounds like you may have brought some of this on by getting way too detailed with her about your plans. Like, it doesn't sound like a great weekend, but you've got this woman, you're with her. She wants more from you, and here you are going into detail about how you're getting this great hotel and going to this killer restaurant with someone who isn't her. So it's a bit salt in the woundy. Quick tip, start calling her your sister. Future issues will be resolved automatically. Calling it a date immediately sets the wrong expectations. I mean, truly awful expectations. I've never taken a friend of mine on a date. We've gone and ate at dinners, but it's not a date. A date sets the expectation that some romance is involved. Think about it like this. Multiple dates are dating. How many people do you know are dating their sister? Yeah, OP, your explanation makes sense to me, but there are a few things you could do differently to clear up the misconceptions. Refer to her as your sister, because that's essentially what you are to each other. And for the love of God, get 2 different hotel rooms. I don't know. Are you serious about this, girlfriend? Do you treat her to big days out like this too? Have you frequently overlooked your girlfriend when making plans with your sister? What have you actively done to reassure your girlfriend? Being oblivious to her feelings and their validity makes you an idiot. Doing nothing to reassure her makes you an idiot. Your sister's husband being okay with the relationship has nothing to do with your responsibility to establish trust with your girlfriend. Allow me to introduce you to my sister-in-law, Laurel. Laurel married my brother around 5 years ago. They had always been child-free and extremely proud of it, which I am too, to a point. However, she has always disparaged children, the idea of children, and would consistently judge other mothers around us for how they handled their own kids. She would comment rude things about people who would breastfeed in public, or even be bold enough to tell them, "You should cover up because my husband can see you too." Overall, Laurel doesn't like kids. Well, guess what? Laurel is pregnant now, and both she and my brother planned this pregnancy, so it was not an accident. The family was very excited, but Laurel has made a misery out of the entire pregnancy. And to be honest, we know she plans to make a misery out of her poor kid's life as well. The baby is a girl, and she'll say things like, "I don't want to deal with her long hair, so I'll shave it off to keep it maintainable," or "I hate dresses, I'll never let her wear those." She refuses to let us buy the baby toys or anything enjoyable, saying that the child won't want those when they're like 3 years old, which I don't even like babies, but I know that's a complete lie. I finally snapped when she was at a family dinner. She kept telling us how terrible it was to have to get the baby's room ready, and how she hated having to buy everything for it, how the kid was already so expensive and wasn't even here yet, and making her life miserable. I asked her why she got pregnant if she didn't want this kid. That was a bowling ball catastrophe, And even though my brother often tells me he asked the same thing, apparently Lauren doesn't like getting called out about her behavior toward her unborn child. Am I the idiot for asking her if she didn't want kids? Why did she get pregnant? Edit. Something else I'd like to add is Laurel is currently 35. She isn't young, and neither is my brother. Not the idiot. For God's sake, somebody had to ask. Please plan on being the most awesome auntie ever. I have a feeling your niece will need someone in her life desperately. Not the idiot. Did she give you an answer? Sounds like her only reason to have a kid would be to trap your brother in her life or have someone else to control and make miserable. I feel bad for the poor kid already. And if I were you, I'd send a message of concern to the proper authorities, however that works where you live, if she doesn't show any signs of improving as her pregnancy progresses or after the baby is here. Not the idiot. A friend of a friend never wanted kids, but allowed his wife to talk him into it, complained all the time about how boring it was to spend time with the first one. The second one was an accident. He spent the entire pregnancy telling anyone who would listen he was trying to get her to get an abortion. Luckily, 5 years later, he is starting to come around to having kids. But that poor older girl has been in therapy and had a lot of behavioral, developmental issues. Children know from a young age if they're unwanted. Someone needs to call that woman out and protect that child. My 32 male, cousin 27 female, is a PhD student. Has been for about 4 years now, I think. And honestly, in the time since she's been at college in general, her personality has changed, but even more so with this new school. One of the ways I've seen it is on social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. She literally only talks about grad school and academics and theory. There are barely any updates on her life, and when there are, it's still academic stuff. Think pictures of her and coworkers at conferences, meetings with a theory reading group, department happy hours, etc. So when she's not discussing hardcore academic text on her social media with other professors and grad students, she's sharing pictures of her at all these academic events. Honestly, all us cousins used to be very close, and now all of us really can't relate to her, as we're not exactly a family that did college and stuff together. She's not like that person at all, and just wants to hang out. But her social media tends to be on our minds when we talk to her, and it affects things, I think. Anyway, she was at home for a couple of weeks this summer, and a bunch of us cousins were hanging out, having some drinks. Every now and then one of us got a bunch of notifications. We'd check our phones. No big deal to any of us. No one was being rude or only on their phone. She got a text and looked at her phone and smiled, laughed a bit. So I said, "Get anything good?" And she said, "Yeah, a friend sent me a really funny meme. Here, I'll pull it up." And I said, "Is it going to be the stuff you're always posting and sharing that none of us will get? Because I don't want to see it if it's that pretentious crap." She said no, but then said, "Never mind," and got all quiet. I asked her what was wrong, and she says, "I didn't realize you think I'm pretentious." And I said, "Well, really it's your social media. You only ever post about stuff barely anyone understands, and you're always talking about your academic life and all these things you go to. It absolutely comes across as pretentious and weird, like you're obsessed with academics, and you think that having a couple of degrees makes you better." Most of the cousins laughed at that, while two said to cool it and to keep that for when it's just the rest of us. She just quietly finished her drink and left for the evening without saying goodbye to anyone. She won't answer my texts now. I feel bad, but I was just teasing her and letting her know that her social media makes her come off as a pretentious idiot. You are the idiot. She actually sounds pretty cool. It also sounds like you don't understand what she's studying or talking about. So instead of being a normal, caring person and asking her about it, you call her pretentious. Lots of people use social media to talk about their work. It sounds like she's doing well and has a lot going for her, and you sound a bit jealous. You are the idiot. She's doing what a lot of people do on social media, sharing her passions. Sometimes people only post their pets or their kids. Some only upload gym selfies or workout videos or their favorite recipes. Her passion just happens to be something you can't relate to. She's not required to cater her post to you. Belittling her for sharing her passions is just outright rude. Oof, I feel bad for cousin. It sounds like you were itching for an opportunity to take her down. You are the idiot. How about you work on your own insecurities instead of projecting them onto her? You're the one that implied she's better than you, not her. She's just posting about her life, which is normal on social media. Not everyone has the same life as you. Her life involves academics, so she's posting about it. Stop being so immature and apologize to her. My 35 female sister, 40, is going through a divorce. It's actually pretty straightforward, with no major nastiness or drama. However, divorce still sucks for everyone involved, and sadly it has to happen. My sister initiated, and I don't blame her. My ex-brother-in-law wasn't such a great partner, but he's not a horrible person, and he's a good dad to the kids. So basically everything, assets and kids, get split down the middle. They were ordered to sell their house and split the money, which my sister wasn't expecting for some reason, even though there was never any reason to believe she had more right to the house than he did. So now they live in separate apartments, nice ones, but obviously not as spacious as the house. And my sister has had to increase her hours at work. My ex-brother-in-law makes a comfortable living, but not enough to support 2 households. And anyway, because the custody is an even split, he doesn't actually owe child support. So yeah, it's meant a definite downgrade in lifestyle, though by no means is anyone here poor or struggling, just more financially tight than before. So my sister has been complaining a lot about its unfairness, and I do sympathize. Divorce is majorly stressful, and she's going through a lot right now. And I wouldn't mind if it was just venting about the stress, but she goes on about how she was wronged, done dirty by the courts. It was all just unfair. And honestly, that's just not true. It can suck, but nothing unfair happened. I finally snapped and told her so the other day. I said, did you really expect to keep up the same lifestyle post-divorce? Divorce is expensive and screws up everyone's finances. It was dumb of her to expect to continue the same lifestyle afterward. Needless to say, she's angry, and so are my parents, who said I shouldn't have kicked her while she's down. That really wasn't my intention, though I see how she might feel that way. Am I the idiot for what I said? She might have had a leg to stand on if X had sprung it on her, but she initiated the divorce, so she has no one to blame but herself. What world does she live in here? Did she have a lawyer, and she just didn't believe him when he told her what would happen with the money? Or did she think she could screw the ex over and is now angry that he was protected and kicking her when she's down? How is she down? She wanted the divorce, so now she's down about what exactly? OP, you did the right thing. She has no right to complain about any of it, and I would have told her so. If your parents are so appalled, they can listen to her complaining all day, but you're done. You are not the idiot. She needed a reality check, and you just happen to be the one to give it to her. Not the idiot. As somebody who just saw my brother lose most custody because he left his wife after she cheated on him and has to pay a crazy amount of child support because she currently isn't working, I wish they would have brought that level of unfairness upon him. Thank you for being a voice of reason, because truth be told, she could say that in front of the wrong person, one who actually got screwed up by the court and upset them pretty badly. How oblivious.